70% of the time. Other 30% of the time, he's thinking about how to seduce Garrus in Mass Effect. Okay, that's something a lot of NBA players try to do.
I feel so called out. How does he know that I'm obsessed with Garrus from Mass Effect? Yeah, a man on the internet was talking about you, about how much we love you. Hello lovely people, welcome back to my channel, welcome if you are new. Today's one of those days where I reveal how little I know about the internet and different personalities, because we're going to talk about a channel that has 1.2 million subscribers, and I've never heard of him before and I don't know who he is. Sorry. So today we're talking about Alex Becker, or rather Alex Becker's channel. If you know me, if you engage with a lot of my content, you'll know that one of my favourite things in life are video games. I have a YouTube gaming channel, plug. I stream video games on Twitch, plug. We have a lot of fun on both of those channels and they're really good and entertaining and you should check them out because I put a lot of work in over there. Anyway, I was meandering through the internet as is my way, and I discovered a video from a year ago called Why I'll Never Play Video Games Again After Learning This. And I thought, damn, this could be life-changing. The hashtags on this video, by the way, are woke level 9000 and mamba meat. I don't know what those things mean. I think video games are awesome. I think they can be beautiful. I think some of them can be art. I studied media, I did animation, and then VFX. So I've seen a ton of projects that broach the barriers between video games and movies, between video games and music videos. Whenever I see somebody say video games are X, Y, or Z, I think they've probably seen Call of Duty on their local news station, or a video about how Pokemon are demonic, and that's their entire experience of video games. Because if that's how you feel, you and me could have a long, big old talk about it. Maybe we'll do a big video game discussion in general at some point, and I'll share some of my favorite things that aren't seen as traditionally video games. But anyway, so this video, obviously, Why I'll Never Play Video Games Again, piqued my interest, and then, because I usually do this to try and understand what a person's channel is about, what their motivation is. So I went on to Alex Becker's channel, and we've got a lot of stuff about crypto, 7 crypto coins that will 15 times early 2022. This is life-changing money. This will make billionaires. Crypto gaming will make you crypto gaming. So he was never touching gaming again. Nightmare peak performance, videos on maximizing, oh yeah, this intrigued me, videos on maximizing your focus and performance, and we've got no FAP nightmare mode, aging backwards. Imagine if not masturbating made you actually age backwards. That would be terrifying. You would have to find a real balance between when you do and don't do it to maintain the right age, otherwise you wake up one day and you're a baby. Anyway, so it's all kind of business, health stuff. It's very, I'm a millionaire, life guru kind of stuff. I feel like Savvy would get a kick out of this. Maybe I should forward this guy's channel to Your Morning Guru, so Savvy and RK can take a look at this, because they look at lifestyle gurus, and this guy has tried evidently every lifestyle hack, and he obviously thinks of himself as not only an investment guru, but a lifestyle guru. So I'm intrigued to see what changed his opinion on video games. He's in a gaming chair and everything. I feel like, we could have had a lot in common, but that's enough rambling about Alex. It's time to get down to business. It's certainly an impressive view. I can't tell if this is an office or if he's still living the minimalist lifestyle and this is just a big empty house with loads of windows. No, you wouldn't have that many windows on your house, especially if you had nothing in it. Right? I don't know anymore. This guy is such an enigma.
Okay, I know this video is going to make some people take their shirts off and twist their nipples at me, because that's apparently what gamers do.
I've been doing it wrong.
There is single-handedly no hobby or side thing you can do that will probably be more damaging to you being successful than playing video games. I'm going to tell you why.
I've really been doing this wrong. There's no hobby. Nothing. Even meth. Crack cocaine? Whatever. Video games are the success killer.
In this video, so just listen up, because it really messed me up for years. And while I'm not the most successful man ever, I've built multiple businesses that have done tens of millions of dollars worth of sales. Here's just one of them on one payment process.
You see what I mean? This is very, I'm a successful business guru and this is why you should listen to me, showing the stats of all the money he's made. That's very, classic business guru.
Sure. And no, I don't have a course or anything to sell you. I generally just want you to stop this.
There is that. He's not selling us a course. We can be grateful for small mercies.
It's really bad. And I would straight up and look you in the face and tell you that binge drinking probably has less of an impact than playing video games, to an extent.
Let's just take a quick hop over to the NHS website, because I'm in the UK, where for the moment we have healthcare. In the UK, binge drinking is considered 8 units of alcohol in a single session for men, 6 units of alcohol in a single session for women. Yeah, I would be on the floor long before we got to 6 units. Drinking too much too quickly on a single occasion can increase your risk of accidents resulting in injury, causing death in some cases, misjudging risky situations, losing self-control like having unprotected sex. Half of all alcohol-involved deaths stem from alcohol-related injury. Now we're looking at United States. Alcohol accounts for 10 to 18% of emergency room visits. A majority of these are for head injuries. Alcohol abuse has been described as a significant burden on our healthcare system to the tune of $15.3 billion annually. In 1500 BCE, an Egyptian papyrus cautioned readers that heavy drinking leads to falls and broken bones. Anyway, we could do this all day. I'm not here to police drinking, but I think that suggesting that video games are more harmful to you than binge drinking is maybe a little bit of an exaggeration that I can't see the facts substantiating that. Sorry, Alex, carry on.
So look, let's just get into it. I know what you're going to say. Alex, you play video games, and Elon Musk plays video games. First off, most woke, most successful YouTuber of all time, also a billionaire, has a great...
This might be an in-joke. I don't think he is the most successful YouTuber of all time. I don't know if he's the most woke either.
Body. I don't know if you've seen me with my shirt off lately, but it's fantastic. And I'm extremely...
Wasn't he just complaining about people taking their shirts off? I'm confused.
family friendly, so everybody likes me. But then there's you. You don't want to compare yourself to that. And the next, if you're comparing yourself to Elon Musk, dude, if you had Elon Musk level skills, you'd be doing Elon Musk things, okay? If you're watching this video, you're probably not doing Elon Musk things, so shut up, okay? Because you're probably a normal person like me. And let me explain why a normal person like me, I'm joking before, can't play video games. And as an entrepreneur who's building businesses, it's made me way less successful. And by the way, if you want to get into building businesses, I'm going to give you a ton of courses and stuff that I used to sell for free at the end of this video that show you to build businesses and what.
He used to sell business courses. It all makes sense.
Not. If you can't make it in this video, you're probably suffering from one of the main things that video games causes in a person. So just sit tight, okay? I'll give you.
Is he going to say that video games cause ADD? Yes, I said that incredibly fast. Let's pretend it was intentional.
Fix. So look, the reason why video games are going to stop you from being successful is not the games itself. Because for the longest time, I've thought to myself, hey, I can just play video games on the weekend, or I can play it 1 to 2 hours when I get done with work. No, that's not how it works. You can't play them at all. And by this, I mean playing video games at all. You can't even dabble because of how it affects your brain. I know it sounds excessive, but you're probably thinking, how could playing video games 30 minutes to an hour a week negatively affect my brain? It's very simple. The way your brain is set up to work is based off dopamine. Now, I can explain all the science behind it, but I will sound like an idiot. And I want to keep up the veil of
Everybody sounds fucking stupid when they go off talking about science. Lame.
Professionalism and smartness that is on this channel, so I won't speak science in front of you. So you just continue to thinking I'm a smart guy. But look, here's how it works. Here's the gist of it.
I think I get the impression that he's kind of satirical and sarcastic about half of the time, so it makes it very hard to take the piss out of him. Damn you, Alex. He's smart.
Dopamine is a 1, pain is a 0. The way your brain works is it operates in 1s and 0s, and it doesn't have context. And when your brain gets a 1, it's going to look at how hard it was to get that 1, primarily based around how much pain it took to get there. And your brain desperately wants to avoid pain, and it wants to get 1s as easily as possible.
I have so many problems with this analogy. I know he said he wasn't going to talk about science, so we don't really have an explanation to work from. There's not just pleasure and pain, because pain requires sending specific electrical signals through your body. That it's not just, you're not just always in pain if you're not firing off dope. I'm so confused. What? When you're playing a video game, you were able to get 1s in an insane amount. You're able to get so many dopamine hits, pow, 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 pow. What happens when your brain gets tons of dopamine hits very easily, it says, hey, everything else you're doing, that's not important. We need to sit down and figure out how to optimize the dopamine hits coming from here, because this is the number 1 line. This is the number 1 rail that we're getting all of our dopamine hits from. This is where we're getting our fix from. Now, I think if you're watching... This relies on a couple of assumptions, right? First is that video games provide more dopamine than anything else in life, and that our body is able to prioritize that. Let's just start Googling some words and see if I can find anything that actually helps us understand what he's talking about. If a person experiences hyperarousal while playing video games, the brain associates this activity with dopamine. So Alex has been playing Hoonie Pop. Alex has exclusively been playing sexy video games with anime boobs, and now he's confused. So there's some stuff here about video game addiction and emotional states. Competition-like video games, it says, can increase the levels of dopamine production. I think this is basically the video game equivalent of the, actually this is kind of funny because he did a video on that as well. This is the video game equivalent of the masturbation discussion, you know, and especially you get a lot of religious fundamentalists talking about how masturbating ruins your life, and they talk about, what they're talking about is actually an addiction, which is at like a way higher level than what they're kind of equating it to. You know what I mean? Like if you've got somebody like Girl Defined that are like, porn addiction ruins your life. Well, what they're talking about when they talk about porn addiction, they're talking about like watching a video once a month. Whereas porn addiction is like a much higher scale thing. I think this is the same thing with video games. I think he's basically using information gathered from video game addiction and people playing at really high levels, possibly playing sexy games all the time, I don't know, and he's equating that to playing half an hour once a week. What if I exclusively played like crossword games once a week? What if I only played games that you can also get in newspapers, but I played it on like Steam or something? Do I get the dopamine? Should I not play crosswords on newspapers either?
Watching this video, you know that, okay, cool, I know that games are significantly more fun and addictive than doing anything that relates to success. I'm sure you've seen a person play World of Warcraft for 12, 14 hours straight, but then they can't sit down and...
No, I've never seen that. I've never just watched a person play Warcraft for 12 hours straight. I've heard a lot of fear-mongering news articles talk about people playing video games for like 12 hours straight, and yes, people do it occasionally because addiction is a real thing, but it's just like people get addicted to alcohol, or people get addicted to, pornography or whatever. Anything taken to that extreme can be harmful to you. It's not the same as playing a couple of hours a week.
Learn something new that will improve their lives immensely, and they'll keep playing World of Warcraft even when they know it's hurting their lives and actually making their lives worse.
Yeah, that's addiction.
That's because, again, your brain doesn't have context. Your brain doesn't go, hey, you know what? You played World of Warcraft for 82 hours last week. You can't pay your rent, and you look like the dad from Harry Potter. It's not going to do that. It's going to say, hey,
rest in peace. Awesome, dude.
Hey, keep doing this thing because it's giving you those ones. But here's where it really starts to mess you up besides just messing up other parts of your life. How your brain works is it's always going to be trying to figure out problems that it believes are going to give it dopamine releases. And it's going to sit there and work on those problems when you're in the shower. It's going to sit there and work on those problems when you're going to bed. It's going to work on those problems when you're not even thinking about your problems in your subconscious. So if you're playing video games, your brain doesn't have context, so it doesn't realize you're sitting in front of a computer screen playing World of Warcraft. It says, the thing you're doing right here, this is the most satisfying thing you could ever do in your life. This is the best place we can get ones, so we're going to optimize for this. How can we optimize to be better at this and maximize ones? And so what it's going to do, if you've ever played World of Warcraft, if you've ever played any video game you're addicted to, you know that when you put the controller down, you're still thinking about it for about 2 to 3 hours. And
yeah, it's a shame he didn't phrase this as a video about video game addiction, because he's like 100% right. I used to play loads of like match 3 games just as like brain quiet. I can't see, video games have ruined my ability to speak. I've got 0 brain cells left. But like my mum and I used to like play little match 3 games together, and we'd sort of compare scores or whatever. And so I played it like a lot, and I would be like going to sleep and my brain would be like making matches in my head. And that's when I'm like, do you know what? I think I'm playing fishdom too often. Like that happens to you. And sometimes like, you know, like when I was playing Animal Crossing all the time, I would hear the sound of balloons. Like my brain would still be listening out for the sound of balloons. Your brain does work like that. I think you have to play quite an extreme amount for that to happen, and it doesn't take long for that to go away. If my brain was like so dedicated to just getting the dopamine hits from video games, then I would never do any work. We do have the free will and the control. That's the thing, right? I think it would be nice if my brain would let me play more video games instead of sitting at my computer agonizing about how to be more productive. And I really need to relax. I really need to rest because I've done a lot of work, but I could be working right now, so I can't play video games. I need to work more.
And then throughout the week, if you're at work, it's still thinking about in the back of your head. When you're in the shower, you're thinking about, how can I get that next epic item in Molten Core? I can tell you this. I tried to play WoW Classic. I'm sitting around constantly in the shower thinking about how to get my Warlock shoulders for Molten Core to increase my base stats by like 24 points. It doesn't even like make my points go up and down.
This guy's a huge nerd.
But the dopamine release is huge. You see how disturbing that is? Because first off, my brain is completely focused on problem solving around a problem that will bring nothing to my life. Again, your brain does not have context. And if all I'm doing is playing video games, obviously it's pretty clear why this is bad, because video games don't pay the bills. Yeah, I mean to say I'm not. And they make you a socially awkward little weirdo, okay? I'm sure you guys can all relate.
If you want to help me pay the bills of video games, you can come and hang out on my Twitch and my gaming channel. I just monetized my gaming channel on YouTube. Come and look at my videos, leave a comment. I'm a socially awkward little nerd, and I need help.
I've talked to a girl before, too. It's freaking terrifying. It's because of the games. Maybe not because...
Just to throw in a little reminder that all video game players are like some sort of stereotypical neckbeard dude who can't talk to girls. That's us. I think, to be fair, going by his channel, I would assume that like 90% of his audience is probably male, just based on my knowledge of YouTube statistics.
The games. But look, here's the thing. The reason why this doesn't work if you want to be successful is because in order to be successful, you need to be thinking on all cylinders. For example, if Kobe Bryant was trying to be the world's best basketball player and he's trying to go in the NBA, and he's going against competitors that are thinking 100% of the time how to be better at basketball, 100% of the time, and he's thinking, let's say, 70% of the time. Other 30% of the time, he's thinking about how to seduce Garrus in Mass Effect. Okay, that's something a lot of NBA players try to do. But say Kobe's thinking about it. He's not going to be the best.
I feel so called out. This guy's pretty funny. He's got the charisma. He's got the charisma for it. I get it. And how does he know that I'm obsessed with Garrus from Mass Effect? Yeah, a man on the internet was talking about you, about how much we love you. Yeah, you sit down there and keep me company for the rest of the video.
Best, because default, he's not going to be thinking about the game as much. He's not going to be as good as the game because he's finding creative ways to move forward. See, the way you really have success at something is you're going to hit these breaking points. You're going to hit these hard points that take a lot of creative thought, and the solutions don't come to you unless you're obsessive about it. And if you're obsessing with something else, which is a video game, which your brain will obsess over because it's a much better source of ones. It's way more exciting than coming to work and working on your business, dopamine-wise. Life fulfillment.
Again, this just only really applies to addiction. I play a lot of video games. Okay, we've joshed around about my gaming platforms on the internet. I play video games in my personal life. Probably I play video games more than the average person does. I'm not thinking about it in my free time. In my free time, when I'm problem solving, I'm usually problem solving something to do with, well, whatever I'm doing last, whether it's putting together some IKEA furniture or it's like a problem through work or something to do with my business. It's whatever is going on in my mind right now. I'm pretty present in my life, and I dedicate a lot of resources to working on this stuff as well as my my regular full-time work. I'm not affected by video games in the way that Alex is kind of saying that I should be by the amount that I'm playing. Maybe it's because his information comes from more competitive kind of games. It's not taken over my life. It's not affecting my ability to run my business because I'm not addicted. And I think what it takes for somebody to become addicted is very different than just somebody who plays video games and is just a regular gamer, you know? The brain doesn't have context for, you know, your life plan when you get hits of dopamine or whatever. We do have free will and the ability to make choices, and that's what mostly drives us. So most people would think, God, I've spent a lot of time playing video games this week. I'm going to spend today getting down to work. And most of us are capable of doing that, of getting down to that work and then problem solving that work. And it doesn't affect our lives. The fact that we played a bit too many video games this week, maybe next week we play less because we're not driven purely by like sucked into whatever is giving us dopamine because we can make choices, right?
Fulfillment-wise, life satisfaction-wise, it's not. And you can get the same amount of high from working on your business, but you can't when there is a thing you can do in your life that gives you way more ones way more easily. See, dopamine doesn't have context. Just because it feels good and gives you a lot of dopamine doesn't mean it's something that you actually will enjoy and will make your life happier. It's not. It's a very poor indicator of what's going to make you happy. But when you're getting ones from something, you're going to focus on it. You're going to think about it. Thus, you're not thinking about something else. Thus, you're not hitting that level of creativity you need to get to that top level. See, how success works is it comes at an exponential return. How it works is at 10% effort, you don't really get results. 50% effort, you don't really get results. 70% effort, you sort of get kind of okay results like everybody else in their life. At 85%, you still don't really get that great of results. At about 98% of effort, that's when you start seeing the huge breakthroughs and you start hitting that level, because that's where...
I don't understand what this percentage means. 98% of effort, what is that? If 100% is never doing anything else in your life, focusing 100% on your career? I don't understand. These percentages don't mean anything because they're not... I don't know what this percentage is. Is it percentage of my brain dedicated to this problem? Because I don't think I have control over that either.
Very few people operate at. If you've ever succeeded in anything in your life, you probably know it's because you sat around thinking about it non-stop. Whenever I was actually learning how to code and alter video games when I was younger, I would sit around and obsess over that constantly. And I would just think about it. And because I was able to do all sorts of crazy things in the games. Whenever I was first thinking about and building my first business, it was all I thought about all day long. So I found all these creative ways that break through these things in my business that really no one had talked about. No one taught me how to do it. No one had helped me discover it. I just sat there and obsessed over it. Just like when you've probably played a video game in the past and you've ran into a problem and you just poked around even until you found a glitch in the game to get around it. That's what you have to do in real life. And so when you're...
I think you can probably be successful without being obsessive to that level. I feel like he's almost promoting a slightly dangerous level of obsession. If you don't dedicate some time to doing something that is just not related to, your life goals, that is just for fun and for pleasure, you burn out. And that is way more damaging to you long term, like to burn out like that. I'm not totally sure I agree with Alex's methodology.
Playing video games even part-time, it hijacks that part of your brain that allows you to get to that point where you're going to get those...
Only as much as anything does. If you're doing something part-time to relax, to take your mind off of it. Like, he's basically saying that taking your mind off of your business, your work problems is bad, because if you're not obsessing over it all the time, then you might not get these creative solutions. Reading takes your mind off of your business stuff. So does watching movies. It's important to take your mind off of business stuff sometimes, whether that's video games or something else. You need to have a break sometimes, dude.
Maximum returns. You're going to be instead sitting around thinking about how to win at Super Smash Bros. You're going to be sitting around thinking about how to train your Pokemon to the highest level. And the problem...
Literally never. I play Pokemon in the lamest way. I just pick the cute ones, and when I get the legendary, that one stays in my party, and I just go. I don't dedicate any time to thinking about how I should play it, which is why I'm not very good at video games in general. But it means it doesn't take over my life. It's not at all like the kind of addiction or obsession that Alex is talking about.
Problems in games are often very complex. Have you seen the complexity of competitive Pokemon? It's mind-blowing. It's insane. And so your brain is going to gnaw on these problems. It's going to be like a bone it can't stop chewing on. And that bone is so thick, you're going to be chewing on it for months and months and months. And then when you chew through that bone, you have nothing. I'm sure you've probably beaten a video game that you invested months into, and then it gives you nothing. I remember when I beat Breath of the Wild,
Yeah, when you finish a book, technically it gives you nothing. When you've been reading a really long, amazing novel and then you've finished the novel, it's like... When I finished the last book in the 3 Body Problem series, I was like, damn. Because it felt like it had taken up a lot of my life, and I had dedicated a lot of my brain to thinking about it, especially because it had quite complex sort of sci-fi problems in it, and you're wondering what's going to happen next. And then it's over, and you're like, oh. I think that affected me as much, if not more, than a lot of video games I've played. Just like if you obsessively watch Miss Marple, maybe you're thinking halfway through a 2-parter of Miss Marple and your brain is whirring away while you're doing the dishes thinking about who could have done it. All sorts of things do that. We need distraction in our lives. We need fiction. We need rest. We need to take a break from our business sometimes. That's not a bad thing.
I was riding around in the motorcycle at the end after, 150 hours, 200 hours invested. And I'm like, this is it. And I turned off my Switch and had nothing to show for it. And so that's why you can't play video games.
So he thinks that just doing things in life is only worthwhile if you get something to show for it at the end? Can't you do things just for pleasure sometimes? I guess if you think that the only way to be successful is to be obsessive about whatever your business or whatever is, then I guess maybe you would think like that. What's the point of all that success if you never get to do anything fun in your life? If you never get to have any fun? You never get to enjoy the pleasures of life. What is the point of becoming rich and successful and having achieved all this stuff if there's just no enjoyment allowed? If I have been working really hard, then playing a video game is like a treat. It's like a reward. It's a bit of fun. It's time to decompress. It's time to enjoy a beautiful story, whatever. I hope Alex is okay. I hope it seems like his YouTube is kind of going way above and beyond and like exaggerating a lot for the memes. I don't know, for the persona. I hope that he's actually cool and doesn't just obsess constantly about success. I hope he actually just has, takes some freaking time to enjoy himself and his life and enjoy what his success has brought him.
It hijacks your subconscious. It hijacks your thinking. If you're going out and partying all the time, at least during the week, you're only thinking about business. You're not going to be thinking about partying 24/7. If you like to eat cake all the time, you'll eat cake and then you're done with it. If you like watching tons of TV, at least when you turn the TV off, you're probably not sitting around thinking about Family Guy 24/7.
I understand where he's coming from, because the interactivity of video games is part of what makes it so enticing and kind of addictive and whatever. Books, TV series, movies, they can leave you thinking just as much, if not more in many cases, than loads of video games. Like, we're not talking about just casually playing video games. He's talking about people who are addicted. He said that it wasn't, but that is entirely what he's talking about. It's purely addiction-based. I'm kind of exhausted. I need to play a video game to chill out.
Games is one of the few things you can ever do that will be more engaging than anything you can do in life and simulates accomplishment, simulates growth in a way that gives your brain massive ones, and your brain can't see the context, and it makes you think about it all the time. Because you think about it all the time, you can't think about and do and operate the level you need to be successful all the time. So speaking about being successful, like I said before, if you want to get all the course...
So I'm curious to know if he has given up on video games then? Has he completely stopped playing video games since this time? Or has he realised that actually as long as he doesn't get addicted to something, it's probably okay? Because I'd be surprised if he was like a big gamer and he just immediately just cut it out of his life 100%. I wouldn't be surprised if he said that for YouTube. I would be surprised if he actually did it. Especially because apparently some of his crypto stuff is like video game based now. I don't know. Wow. Okay. Alex is a character. I'm definitely going to point this guy out to your morning guru to see if they want to like follow some of his life hacks. I'm interested in some of his other... I've had a couple of messages asking what I think about like the no-fap movement and things like that. And I'm like, maybe at some point I will look into that, because I think it's the same level of taking everything to a wild extreme that is just completely unnecessary and more for the sake of showmanship than anything else. I'm going to put Garrus back real quick. I've even got like the Thievius Raccoonus up here now as well. I've got freaking Slimes from Dragon Quest. I feel like I'm either like the worst or the best person to discuss this topic. Let me know what you thought about all that. Whether you play video games or not, let me know what you think. I feel like in its simplest form, this boils down to, if you're trying to work really hard and focus on your success, don't get addicted to stuff. And I do understand that video games, the way they function and the design, a lot of video games have been designed, whether they've inadvertently come across it or it's been designed intentionally, are designed to be addictive. And that is a problem. And I think part of what makes this kind of irritating is that could be a genuinely really interesting discussion and is like a valid concern, especially games that target really young people that are designed to be addictive, designed to make people spend money. It's kind of a shame that Alex has taken it to this like embarrassing extreme where it's like, if you ever play video games, you'll never be successful because your brain will become dopamine. It doesn't make sense, blah, blah, blah. It's kind of a shame. So yes, do let me know what you thought. Let me know what video games you're addicted to. If you liked this video, do consider giving it a like, do consider leaving a little comment, maybe sharing it, check out some of my other stuff. It all really helps. And remember that if you would like to help me avoid video games ruining my life, help me make video games pay the bills because otherwise they're not worthwhile, you can come and hang out on my gaming channel over on YouTube. You can follow me on Twitch. We get to have a live chat. It's always a lot of fun. Before we go, I would like to give a huge thank you and a big shout out to my giant chickens over on Patreon. Aaron Speer, Amalgam of Neuroses, Amber, Bert Whitehead, Chantale, Chris Simpson, Connie Wright, Connla, Chicken Maximus Lyons, God damn it, Connla, Corey Garner, Curious Capybara, Danny, Denny5252, Dr. Mint, Elle, Faye Gregory, Fulcrum, Gaming Ridge, Gay of Reckoning, George Bush, Henry Curtis, Izzy, Jason Metcalf, Joe Rowe, John Fry, John Smith, Kent Woodward, Chris Convaga, Lizzie Gale, Lynn Dobbs, Mattus McChicken Nuggetus, Miles Tegg, Mogaringa, Mr. Creosote, Nerd Fiction, Ninja Red, Peter Kiruk, Psyched Dude, Kike, Rosina Keller, Sarah Shavy, Simping on Emma Thorne, Seriously, Tanklo, The Enchanter formerly known as Tim, the Myth Vision Podcast, Tracy O'Rourke, and Wasatch Witch. Thank you so much, you guys are amazing. I hope you all have a very lovely week, and I will see you really soon.